Hi everybody, I'm Allison with Align Coaching, and I wanted to share a story from an event, the Wonder 2019 event that I was at over the weekend. My co-presenter Nadine Moskovich was talking about emotional intelligence, and she was sharing a story of how her own practice around emotional intelligence really helped her in her personal life. And so the story is that her sister has experienced a lot of struggles lately. There's been some drug use, not sure, she's incarcerated. We don't know what that's about. And Nadine's story is that her sister was, I'm not sure how she was on a program through prison where she could leave prison and then return, and then her sister didn't return. And so her sister and her sister's husband are on the run. They're on the lam. And obviously the whole family is really concerned about her well-being and about what she's doing. She's made a lot of mistakes, and so they're all just living in a lot of worry and anxiety. And Nadine, being somebody who's in recovery, was saying that she has spent a lot of time in the last few years really focusing on self-awareness, on regulation, on empathy, on social skills, right? All of the parts of emotional intelligence. Of course, that's not what they call it in recovery. It's really a lot of the same stuff. So when her sister reached out to her on her birthday, which was just a few weeks ago, Nadine said, I wasn't really sure. It hijacked me in some ways, right? She wants to talk to her. She wants to hear from her. She wants to yell at her. She wants to swear at her. She wants to lecture her, nag her, advise her, all of the things, right? The phone number pops up on the phone and she's like, oh my God. And yet when you practice self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, social skills, and you do it enough when you're not in tension and you're not in stress, it'll work. It'll be like a muscle memory when you need it. And so this phone call happens, and Nadine says, so I answered the phone, and I was just with her. And when she would take a step, I would take a step. And sometimes I would take a step, and hopefully she would take a step. And I didn't nag, and I didn't give her advice, and I didn't tell her what to do. All I did was check myself, be aware of what was going on in me, regulate myself, calm myself down, get grounded, because that is what she thought her sister needed and what she needed in that moment. And by her being that way on the phone, her sister, it does influence the behavior and the thoughts and the feelings of others because we're human. Her sister was also calm, and her sister was also shared a lot of information with her. And Nadine said, you know, I just loved her. I loved her where she was at. And does Nadine want her running away from prison and being chased by the police and using drugs and making lots of mistakes? No, of course not. And yet that would not have been helpful to bring that up in that moment. And so EQ, yes, it's a great superpower, right? It's this great skill set for really dynamic leaders, and people that have high EQ, they can move mountains, right? We'll follow them anywhere. And what's so beautiful about this story with Nadine is that it is also really critical when you're dealing with high intensity events in your own life with people that you really love and care about. And she just opened the door a little bit for her sister, and her sister walked through. And so that's really another take on EQ and the role that it can play in all of our lives. If you have any stories to share, any questions or anything else that you'd like to ask me, my email is allison@aligncoachingllc.com. Thanks.